Hi everybody, welcome to Homestead Rewind. Today I'm going to make my favorite homemade brownie recipe. Come along with me. When I was a young girl, I lived with my grandmother, and one of the very first recipes she taught me was this recipe, and it is called the Yum Yum Brownie recipe. She got the recipe out of an old Amish cookbook that she had had for a long, long time. Now, when I turned 30 years old, my mother, for my birthday, got me this very same Amish cookbook, and I have cherished it ever since. I can show you. I have really used this cookbook. Now, the last time I went down to the Amish village, they didn't have this cookbook in stock, and the lady there could not remember the book that I was describing. But they do have a new Amish cookbook. One of these days, I'm going to get that. Now, I'm not going to promise you that this is the healthiest dessert for you, but it is pretty delicious. And if you eat it in moderation, you should be all right. The good thing is that it does not have preservatives in it. You know that for sure. You know why? Because you're making it yourself. Now, let's get started. What you're going to need is 2 cups of granulated sugar, 3/4 a cup of butter or lard, or you can combine them. The recipe says I use lard. I use all lard, but you can use all butter, all margarine, whatever you would like. Just 3/4 of a cup of it. Then you're going to need 1 cup of flour and a 1/2 cup of cocoa, a teaspoon of salt, and a teaspoon of vanilla, and 4 eggs. Eggs is going to be your leavener in this. There is no baking powder and there's no baking soda. So let's get started. Okay, I am using the paddle mixer. I call it the batter mixer because this is going to actually be a batter. And you start out with your lard, your 3/4 a cup of lard. And then you add your 2 cups of sugar and mix that until it's well incorporated. My lard is at room temperature, so that should help start infusing with the sugar. I just want to make sure that that gets mixed up really, really well. Okay. You see that my lard's stuck on my paddle there, so I'm going to scrape the bowl, scrape the batter, scrape the paddle, scrape the bowl, and just give it a little bit more whiz. Okay, that should be good. Now, I'm going to add 4 eggs. Mix that up really good. Just kind of beat the eggs into that sugar and lard mixture. You can see it's starting to look creamy. Now we're going to add our flour and our cocoa. Now, because there is so much powder in there, I'm going to give this a quick stir with my spatula. Because cocoa is even worse than flour as far as blowing up in your face when you put it in a mixer. Okay. I'm going to start slow so I don't get my nose powdered with cocoa. And then turn it up. Go ahead and whip that up pretty good. Now, I'm going to scrape the sides of that bowl. Make sure I scrape the bottom. In these KitchenAid mixers, you really need to scrape the bottom of your bowl, because that paddle does not go all the way to the bottom of the bowl. Okay, scrape that off. Now, I'm going to put in my vanilla. Teaspoon of vanilla. And a teaspoon of salt. I'm using sea salt. And I'm just going to mix that in. Scrape my beater off again. I remember when I used to make this for the kids, they loved licking the beaters. And honestly, they learned that from me. I used to always get to lick the beaters. Alright, let's take this out. I'm not going to lick the beaters today. Okay, now when it comes to pan size, there is no absolute right or wrong, but you do want a smaller pan. My brownie pan is in storage back at the farm, and so this one is a little bit bigger than what I would like to use, but I think it's going to get the job done for me. You know, you just have to gauge by your batter. There's no exact size that you have to have. You can make thin brownies or thick brownies, ever what you want. These are probably going to be more on the thin side. And you just want to spread that out evenly in your pan. By the way, I sprayed this pan with canola oil before I done that. And actually, as I'm looking at it right now, they aren't going to be very thin brownies. They'll be the thicker ones. I'm kind of glad. All right. So now I've got that spread out evenly. Now for my favorite part of the brownies. Yet a couple days ago I uploaded the banana nut bread recipe, and I don't think I was very clear in my explanation of adding nuts. In my banana nut bread, I usually put English walnuts in that, but pecans is all I had for the day, and I like the toasted pecan flavor. So rather than put the pecans in the batter, I sprinkled them on top of the batter, and they toasted up on top. And if I was using the English walnuts, I would put it straight into that batter, and I would put it straight into this batter too. However, I've got black walnuts. I finally found, I went to the store and got some. They were finally on the shelf. They hadn't been on the shelf in the past couple months. So since I'm using these very expensive black walnuts, I want to make really good and sure that every bite gets a good taste of black walnut. And so I'm just going to sprinkle those on top of this batter. And also the toasted flavor of black walnut just cannot be beat. If I put that straight into the batter, it wouldn't taste the same. But I have been picking up walnuts here at the park. And I know that I have a walnut tree at home, black walnut, and I'm just going to pat them in there so they'll stay on the top. This is how you can sparingly get your walnut flavor, but not use so many walnuts, because they are very expensive. Okay, so I'm going to take that and put it in my outside oven at 350, and I'm going to check it after 20 minutes. Okay guys, I think that's going to wrap it up for today. Share this video with anyone that you think might be interested in my Homestead Rewind. Until next time, love and peace to everyone.